Well, hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to my stream, and what just might be the final chapter of this particular build. That would be the 1/48 scale F-18F Super Hornet by Hasegawa. 1/48 scale. I think I said that already, but I don't know. It's early in the morning and I don't remember things. We'll run the intro. We'll get started. Okay guys, we're back and we're going to continue the build. We got a little bit done last time. We're basically working more on the ordnance and underneath things and getting the last little bits put together. So we finished off. We've got wing right there. So we've got our AMRAAMs installed. We've got our center fuel tank installed. We've got our blank weapon rails installed, and so that's where we're at. And she sits down on her wheels, very pretty, and looks great. Okay, I'm just going to put her back over here for now. So I finished last time, put the pylons onto our wing fuel tanks. Let's change the camera. You can see the finished result. Last time you saw me put all that dirtiness on them, and after they dried, this is what they look like now. So yeah, we've got the dirt accumulation along the bottom here and some streaking and stuff like that, and yeah, and of course they don't look quite the same, and that's done on purpose. I want one to look different. I don't want them looking exactly the same. This one's a lot more dirty. Yeah, there we go. So that is those. So what I wanted to start on today was, since we've got most of this all done, well, I also put on the missiles onto our wingtips. So those are done. They're ready to be installed. Those are probably going to be the final thing I put on this plane. We want to work on our canopy piece here. So I have my canopy painted and masked off, and so we got to put some bits on the inside of it here, and I have this part right there that's ready to go. That is our, I don't know what the number is even. They don't even show me the number of it. That's interesting. Anyway, so it's F2. So I gotta grab my F tree, grab this out of the box here. Here's what's left of my effing tree. It's my effing tree. Yeah. It is. Well, I gotta change my glasses because as I look closely at things, everything turns blurry on me because my old eyes don't like to focus like they used to. Okay, so this guy's gonna go in there like so. And we've got F11 is going to go in at the front of it. So this is F11 here. And then it looks like we've got two options based on how you want to have this displayed. Now normally I would put on the option to have it closed, because I like the look of having a closed canopy, but I don't glue the canopy on because I like to have the ability to just take the canopy off and have a look inside. Now I'm trying to determine if there's a front and a rear on this, but it looks like they're the same on both sides. It doesn't look like it's going to be any different whether I have it on the front or the back. And this is just going to sit at the front of this like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it down so that I can just take this and kind of go like bing and just glue it like that on there. Just like that kind of thing. So where'd my glue go? My glue's hiding under my instructions. So let's put a little glue on the tips here. Put that down. line this up on here. There we go. I want to make sure it is as straight up and down as I can get it, and flat on there, and there we go. So I'm just going to leave that on there like that. That's going to be our, I guess it's the center brace that goes around here. But of course it's not perfect. It's not perfectly round like the canopy, so that's interesting that they've done it like that. The other thing we have is, of course, we're going to choose either F5 or F9 depending on how you want it displayed, either open or closed. I think I'm going to do my usual thing where I have it displayed sitting on my shelf closed, but again with the canopy not glued on. So I'm going to choose F9, and that's going to go up in here into that little slot right in here. So F9, it's this guy here. I think I actually only have one or two airplanes on my shelf that I've actually glued the canopy on in the open position. It's just something I don't really do. So this is supposed to go like that. So we got a little peg that's supposed to go into a hole. It's a little hard to see because I got everything painted flat black. So right in there is where that hole is. And it's kind of like this is going to go right up against the back of the seat. So that's going to go there. This has to sit up a little bit so that it can go down. It's going to go in like this and sit in there like that. Just like that. It'll be interesting to see what our alignment is like, especially with my custom 3D printed seats that I put in this thing. So let's put a little dab of glue in there. Line that up. There we go. Just making sure it's straight. Straight in all three dimensions. That is an important thing. There we go. Looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to put that upside down now. Like so. And that is that. I could actually just install it in here, I think. Let's just do that. She's a good fit, and she doesn't actually quite line up with the bar on the canopy, so that makes sense why it doesn't match. So this should go right in there all the way. She kind of wants to pop up just a little bit. And I'm sure once I got some glue on there, I won't have to try and convince it very much. So run some glue along that edge and try not to touch the outside of the canopy. this down with my fingers and give that glue a few seconds to grab. And then we'll touch this on there so that our little frame isn't only being held on by the Q1 piece. When you're all done, this should be completely flat along there. Alright, great. The construction of the Super Hornet continues. Yes, it's actually going to be finished today, I think. Depending on how much glue I have to wait to dry, she might be done. She might get finished today. It's just a bunch of little bits like this, little details that need to be installed. So this is done, so we're going to let this dry. We're going to set her down over here and we'll look at what's next here. So I think what's going to be next is the front part of the canopy. We're going to get L1, L3, and L4. And we'll get those put on here. Of course, that means I'm going to be removing my masking tape off of the canopy. I won't have to remove it off of here, but on the actual fuselage, because I have it all covered up from all my painting and everything like that. So I'm just going to have to remove it. That's just the way it is. I will have to remask because when I'm all done with the assembly, she needs to get a nice flat clear coat put on her. So let's just remove this. There we go. Okay. So we need to get our L parts. So those are the clear ones. Let's find my clear sprue here. There we go. 3 and 4. Let's move this guy out of my way so I can assemble 3 and 4. JGG10, I appreciate the fact that you took the time to type something in my chat. You know, I get people, so many people watching me in my chat and they don't bother saying anything at all. It's nice to actually see finally somebody type something in my chat. It seems like such a rare occurrence. Now, they don't call out any colors on this, although usually it's only the center glass that is clear. So they have this sitting like that. No, they have it sitting like this, and then this guy sits on top of it. This guy is going to sit onto the little bracket like this. Let's try this again. It sits like this. And it's kind of weird the way they have it. Doesn't really make sense. The way they show it is it just sits on it like this, and that's it. And normally I see the heads-up displays are, you know, they have they got an angled piece or something like that that goes on there. But in any case, I'm going to put this one on first. Just leave this aside here for a minute. This guy is going to go on here like that. So he sits right here on this channel. I'm going to turn my plane around because I am left-handed. And it's easier for me to install this with my left hand. Just like that. Although I have it a little too far back, it needs to go up front, forward. Just like that. I'm going to do a little test fit with this guy just to make sure. He's going to sit down there. We've got lots of clearance. That's great. I need to do a little touch up with the black paint around there before I glue it on, because I don't want to have any of the white showing through here. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? I watched a recording of the model's painting process. The weather-resistant paint finish turned out very well. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I wanted to go with a very dirty look, something that looks very weathered and, you know, saltwater stained, that kind of thing that you see on the Navy planes quite a bit. So I definitely didn't want something looking brand new. I'm going to touch up a little bit of the black paint around there, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to touch up the paint on the underside of this. Okay, so to do that, I'm just going to use my Mr. Surfacer 1500 black. We'll just touch that up a little bit here. Before we do anything else. So we'll just touch this up. Okay, we'll let that dry. Let's go in here ever so carefully. we go. Now I'll do this part later because I am going to have to mask this off unless I actually just set this down on here, which I could. I could actually later on when I do my flat clear, I could just do that, put that down to cover, and then I don't have to worry about masking it, especially with the canopy already masked. My finger touched one of my landing gear bay doors and was threatening to break it off. That's the problem with those delicate bay doors. Okay, so I got my bay painted up. Actually, just want to do a little bit on these things. See, because I've mentioned this before, the 1500, Mr. Surfacer 1500, when you brush paint it, it's like a semi-gloss. When you airbrush it, it's dead flat. It's a dead flat black when you airbrush it. If you happen to have it in the rattle can, which I can't get anymore because I live in Canada, if you have it in the rattle can, it's also a semi-gloss when you spray it. It's really unique properties. Okay, so we're going to call that done. Actually, I'm going to take a look here just to make sure. Yeah, I'm going to do another coat on here. I would like to see a Sea Harrier model build from Kinetic 148 on your channel. The 148 Sea Harrier. I'll have to look that up and see what kind of availability that is to me in my region. Kinetic Sea Harrier. I've never built a model kit from Kinetic before, so I just might have to do that. I'll have to look that up. A Kinetic Sea Harrier. I mean, it can't be worse than the Tamiya Sea Harrier that I built probably 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now. I built the Tamiya Harrier, which that kit, I saw some kind of reviews online saying that was one of the worst kits ever. And I can't say that I had any problems with the kit. I mean, yeah, back in the early 80s, Tamiya used to do raised panel lines. regular ones. Okay, so let's put our secondary little piece on here. That's going to sit on there like this. Not like that, but like this. And so we'll glue that on. There we go. Okay, now we can put this one on. This guy's gonna go right there. I'm gonna leave the masking tape on it so that so that I don't have to worry about it. Because later on I am going to be, like I've said a couple of times now, I will be putting a flat clear over this whole thing. I want to kind of do a test fit and get it lined up so that when the canopy's on, it's going to be right up against the canopy where it's supposed to be, like that. So that's where she's going to sit. So very carefully touch it there, touch right there, and we'll go a little dot right there at the front. There we go. Okay. Now normally I see a lot of guys, they use like what they call canopy glue, or sometimes they use the Elmer's glue on there. When you have a canopy that has a frame around it, you don't really have to worry about that kind of thing. You can just use regular glue. This stuff doesn't frost it or anything like that, so it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine, okay? So don't worry, it'll be fine. All right, this is done. And so R30 is going to go on the top here in our little hole. So let's find R30. One of my R screws. R30 is 48, 19, 21, 18, over here 28, 32, 30. You know, one thing you always wonder about, I don't always wonder, but sometimes I wonder, things like this, they put a little tiny fin on there, like one of these, and you just got one sitting in the center here. Why do they put one in the back? Why do they put that there? You know, I'm sure there is some engineering reason why they put a little fin here like that. But you know, because you have random ones. You got like a little one here on your door, and then you got another one down here, right there by my finger. Like, what are these for? Why do they randomly put little fins sticking out on the planes? You know what I mean? I understand, like, you've got your little pitot tubes up front there that measure your airspeed and stuff like that. But for things like this, what's this one all about? Just making sure we're straight up and down. Okay, so that's on there. We're gonna deal with our ladder, I think. We've got our ladder pieces. We've got the ladder assembled. Okay, our ladder is assembled here. So we need to get K13 and K29 and K22. 13, 29, and 22 off of our K tree. So 13 and 29. And then we need 22 way over here. I want to just be careful where I cut this off. There we go. I can greatly reduce the size of this sprue now, because this is garbage. I actually only have one piece left on the sprue, I think. This guy here. So if you're going to be displaying it with the ladder down, you're not going to use the K25. But if you want to have the ladder up, like maybe it's in flight or something like that, you don't like displaying the ladders on them, then you're going to choose this piece. Because in these planes come with their own ladders, right? The F-18 has its own ladder. They don't have to bring a ladder up to the side. They have them already. So you can have it displayed closed like this. If you so choose, you have the power. Okay, so we have these guys. I gotta clean up my little rod here. Okay. This guy's not looking very clean either. He looks like he's got lots of... I mean, he's only held on the sprue by one spot, but he's got little nubs all over him, making him not look quite so nice. Getting these all lined up is going to be the fun part. I tell you what, that's going to be fun. Okay, now I kind of screwed myself over because I need to flip this over, but I've glued my canopy on and my little fin, and I can't exactly just sit him down like this. So we need to strategically put a couple of things. I can set him down on his nose, that'll be fine, but I should do that and maybe just use a third one here. Let's move this back. And we'll just do this. There we go. And this happens to be on the side that I need to work with. So our ladder is going to line up. Looks like our ladder is going to go into these two little holes here and here. With this guy going at the very front. His piece goes at the very front here. He goes like this on there, so we can put some glue there. He is the front one. I need to reposition my airplane a little bit. Let's just move this like this so that I can get this at angles that I need it to be. Here we go. And a little more glue. Okay. So the ladder is actually going to go into this hole and this hole. this. I want to get some glue onto their little pegs because it's a tight fit. We've got paint on the ladder, we've got paint in these holes. I've got the ladder backwards. The ladder should sit straight up and down. She might not want to sit on her own right away. Let's see, she's starting to hold. And then we take this guy and he's supposed to have the center part is supposed, they're showing it go to a little divot in the fuselage, but I don't see any little divot for it, and I can't really line it up on the actual plane itself. On the ladder, because the ladder's, I gotta remove the ladder, this sucks. She's got to go into this little notch here. There's little notches on the ladder, here and here, for this to attach onto. She's not quite, we need to spread her open a little bit here. Spread your legs there, little girl. Whoa, hey, calm down. Careful, careful. Okay, something like that. And then the ladder goes in here. And this is backwards. We've got to have it this direction. Yeah, there's no real spot for it. Not like it shows in the instructions. So I'm going to have to put, now that I ripped it out of there, I got to put more glue here. Ho ho ho. So where our little point here is contacting the side of the fuselage is just where I'm going to leave it. And we have our third piece that's going to go into the side of the ladder. And connect here. And just go doink on the ladder. Okay, and then glue on here. And then just kind of touch that on there. This would actually help now to tip our plane to help the ladder stay straight. So there we go, there's our ladder installed. Now I should double check my one little, so I kind of shouldn't be wiggly. So let's just make sure my hinges are glued still. Because they are delicate. Okay, so that's that. So, our ladder's installed. Our nose of our canopy is installed. That looks like that is it for this page. Looks like it. Which actually completes it. So there's nothing else to install except for the things that I haven't installed, if that makes sense. Let's put our fuel tanks on their wings. Let's reposition our bottles here, our jars. Okay, and let's do a test fit, do a dry fit to make sure my holes are big enough here. And they are, so they're going to be fine. So I'm going to get my other glue. I like to use the thicker glue for this stuff because it does hold a little stronger. Oh, before I do this, I gotta make sure this is a flat edge. Remember last time? Last time I had to make sure my pylons have flat edges. So, let's just make sure these are flat here. Because I can see the parting seam on these. So let's just make sure, you know, I don't have something silly like a parting seam that doesn't give me a flat surface to glue it on. That's nice and flat now. Okay, that's one. Let's do the same on this one. It's amazing how it exposes a not flat surface when you do this. What you think is a flat surface, and then all of a sudden when you try to file it, you see it's only filing one half of it, which tells you it's not flat at all. But she is now. That's a much more contact surface area for the glue. So now we can glue it. Try to keep the glue centered on there. I do quite a bit over the actual knobs. But, yeah. Okay, line this up, and bingo. We'll have to hold it for a second because they are kind of front nose heavy. And try not to move it too much and make sure we are straight up and down. And she's holding. There we go, one fuel tank in. I'm just going to make sure I do have it straight up and down here. Yep, looks good. So that's one fuel tank. I'll do a dry fit on this one. Yep, fits good. And she'll actually hold. There's a little bit of a tight fit on that one, so that's perfect. Of course, glue acting like a lubricant will turn that tight fit into a very nice wet fit. And again, I'm going to try and hold that steady and make sure I'm straight up and down. Okay, she's holding. And she's straight up and down, just like she's supposed to. Oh, no, no, no. Oh, and look what happened over here. Catastrophic failure. I can't get in there. Fuck you then. It's this kind of thing that makes me understand guys who use CA glue all the time. With CA glue you get 3 or 4 seconds and she's glued solid, right? So we'll just give it a couple of minutes here, okay? Give that a couple of minutes and we'll come back. With this being dried off now, it's been a few minutes, this should be okay to flip over. We will see. She's actually she feels heavy now with those extra pieces on there. Her fuel tanks, they must have fuel in them because they really weigh this blade down. She's feeling hefty now. So we can put our tail fins on. One of the last few parts to go on this plane are the tail fins. Again, we're going to start with our thicker glue and we'll go into the hole here with it, like so. Kind of touch it around a little bit and do that. And I like to get in there with some extra thin also. And do that. And we'll do a similar thing on this side. Get in here with some of the thicker stuff. Smear it around a little bit and then drop this guy in there like so. He doesn't really want to sit flat. There we go. Our tail fins are on. Alrighty. Okay, so the final part to install is our wingtips. And those involve these and these pieces. Okay, so let's do this side first. We're going to do the far side. So that would be this guy, which started off in this position, right? He started off there. That's where he would be. You can't see that because it's off camera. I'll move my plane. He originally started off here, right? But he's in his stowed position. So that's what we're doing there. So there is a little tiny bit of a notch right in here. Right there. And that's where that extra little piece that we glued on here, this part right here, that's where that is going to glue into. So, let's put a little bit of glue in here, into that little notch. Line this up. And hold him on here for a sec.
A few inches later.
There we go. she's holding. Now, I don't want to get into that other piece and have it, because in positioning it, I'm probably going to accidentally move that wing. But this piece here is literally just going to kind of snug up against it. And that's it. And just kind of touch up against there, and basically it's going to act as a bit of an anchor to help give some support on there. So let's just see if I can just kind of put it into place here, ever so gently, where it needs to be, and I could put some glue on it and call it a day. Oh. Alright, so I'll move this into camera view for you a little bit. As you can see how that is. If I tip my plane, the wing's going to fall, so I don't want it to do that. We're really got a delicate balance going on right now. We can do the same thing with this one. We're going to line it up like this, and we're going to hold it. Okay? We're going to hold it like that. So let's just do the same thing. This will be a little bit more on camera for you. More on. So put a little glue on here into our notch. And line this up. We want, oop, I said line it up. Hold it here. Give it a good count to like 15 or even 20 even.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
See? With a reapplication of the glue, now she's holding. So now, fish this guy out. We can put him on. This guy. And he's going to go in right here. And I might get my head in the way, but I'm just gonna set him on here, just like that, and that's it. Don't fall. Or if your patience is running out, you could always lean something up against it and hold it straight up. Just do that. Maybe put a little more glue to hold it in. Of course, my canopy don't fit proper. There we go. And so there it is. That is our build. She's done. I obviously have to still let that dry. This wing is good. This wing wants to fall out, but that's okay. That's okay. We're actually going to take a taller bottle here. Get that more straight up and down. Like that. So, that completes the build, guys. Our F-18 is finished. As for the actual assembly, we're done. The only thing I've got left to do on this is I'm going to spray paint this whole thing in a flat clear. Because she shouldn't be shiny, and the flat clear is going to just make everything uniform. It's going to make the decals look like they are painted on and not these raised looking decal things, It's going to uniform and just make everything sealed. All my weathering and all that is going to get sealed in underneath a nice flat clear. And then she'll look also a lot more military-like and not like a nice glossy car or something like that. So yeah, but obviously I got to give this a good 10, 15, 20 minutes or something like that for that glue to cure properly before I can really start moving it around and stuff like that. But that's it. That is the final build before I head off to Korea in a few days. So this is going to be my last video. Once I do have this all finished and she's all painted, I'll take a few pictures of it and I'll upload it to my Instagram like I do with all my stuff, right? Check out the links down in the description box and you'll see some links to my Instagram, my X channel, and if you're watching this on YouTube, also on my Twitch channel. Oh, thank you very much, and you have a good day too. I don't know why the chat didn't pop up on the screen over there, but it should have. I'll have to check my settings. Anyway, yeah, that's it. She's done. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you for joining me on this little journey. Once I get back from Korea, I believe I'm going to be working on an Audi. I think that's going to be my next build. It's an Audi it's R8. Yeah, commission build. So we'll be doing that. Will be my next one. So again, guys, thank you for watching and thank you for the support. Leave a comment down below if you feel like it. Let me know how you feel about this stuff. Let me know if I need to fix anything. I'd love to get your feedback. And I guess we'll see you all in the next one.